It's episode 193 of the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Ruth Taylor, and in today's show, I'm continuing the series, It Turned on a Book, How Writing Redirected My Purpose and Profession. And that's based on a book by Daphne Ellis. I introduced the book last week and sharing just a little testimony from Daphne Ellis. And this series will continue until January. And in today's show, I'm going to be sharing my own testimony of how it turned on a book. And I have some exciting news to report as I'm recording this on Sunday, December 14, 2025, around 7 a.m. this morning. I submitted the first draft of my complete dissertation. And I am excited. I am grateful. And I want to talk more about that today as part of the series. It turned on a book because this thing would not have been possible without the writing of my very first book and the book of which this show is named, Authorpreneur Secrets: Write Fast, Publish Cost Effectively, and Generate Lasting Income. So stay tuned.
Your book is the perfect spark to get the fire going in your personal life, career, business, or ministry. Light that book spark today.
All right. So I'm having some sinus challenge. So if I sound stuffy, I don't have the flu, but my sinus is giving me some problems. Anyway, that is not going to dim the excitement because things have turned out better than I dreamed. So, the latest in my authorpreneurship ventures, before I get into my testimony of how it turned on a book and my dissertation, is that this week as well, I collected the first copies of my children's book, my very first children's book, published this year, called Ari Dreams. And I'm so excited. It looks so good. And I don't know if it's because it's a new genre, but the excitement is palpable as if it is book number one. And Ari Dreams, I think, is perhaps book number 36 or 35, one of them. But it feels like a whole new journey. And I am going to be gifting copies of Ari Dreams to children in Westmoreland on the weekend for the BambuSparks Christmas mission. And we have some partners with us in this mission. We are partnering with Bluefields Organic Farm, of course, and the Belmont Missionary Church. We are partnering with the ROC, that is Restoring Organic Communities, Genesis. We are partnering with, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Ujima Natural Farmers Market, and things are looking up. So we had a planning meeting on Thursday, and we're going to have another one this Thursday coming because the mission weekend will be, the mission will be from the 20th to the 21st. Originally, it was planned for the 19th, but we're not going to travel down the 19th, but maybe we'll deliver some of the supplies on the 19th. So we're collecting the children's books. I want to thank so far the BambuSparks authors who have already given books towards the cause. There's still some time, maybe by Thursday or Friday of this week. If you still have books to donate, you can let us know. So, Dr. Lisa Facey Shaw has donated some books. Help, My Parents Are Hungry. That's her children's book. We have Andrine Tyrrell, who has donated copies of her book, Bushy, The Busy Forest Rabbit and Friends. I am donating copies of Ari Dreams, and we've also gotten a few sponsors. So we're going to be having the children's treat around about maybe 10:30 on Sunday, the 21st. We're going to be doing a food security workshop around 8 a.m. or so, in terms of how to help persons to start their own organic backyard farm, because after your supplies run out, you do need something that's sustainable. So seedlings will be given away and things like that. And then on the Saturday, it takes a couple hours to travel to Westmoreland. We'll be doing packing and sorting. We're putting together at minimum 50 school supply kits, and we want to help with the re-roofing of at least one home. So it's not too late to donate to that cause. To donate, you can go to bambusparks.com/Melissa H. And we still need some donations for the re-roofing. And of course, BambuSparks is publishing a special exercise notebook called Pages of Hope that has stories of hope at the back of it. And eventually these will be sold. These first set are being printed as part of our donation. So we're printing at least 50 of those books to give away. So the team at BambuSparks is the one funding the printing of the Pages of Hope. But in the future, you can buy the Pages of Hope to donate or to use yourself for your own journaling, or give it to your children for them to take notes in school and also to be inspired. BambuSparks closed its operations for this year on the 7th of December. And our team really needed the break. We have not gone on the usual vacation leave, 2-week break throughout the year. And we really needed a break as part of my quote unquote vacation. My goal was to work on my dissertation. I had completed chapters 1 to 3, and I submitted that early. Based on the roadmap for graduation, the first draft of the entire dissertation should be submitted to my dissertation supervisor for approval by December 15. I was just doing so many things that I really wondered if I could do it. But by the grace of God, I finished and I was able to submit that ahead of schedule, just one day before the due date, which is December 15. I submitted it on December 14, as I said in the introduction. And my supervisor has said that she and my second reader will be looking at it, and they will get back to me in 2 weeks, because I think the 31st of December, that file should be uploaded to complete what they call DIS 701C, which is the second to last module or course as part of the 4-part dissertation series of courses that I have to complete. So that would leave me with dissertation 4, which is DIS 701D. By January 1, I should register for dissertation 4. And then after receiving approval from my dissertation supervisor and possibly an editor, my dissertation should be submitted to my second reader and then to the technical reader. That's on January 1. But God has been so good to me that normally your second reader comes in at the end. But my second reader has been working closely with my supervisor from the get go. So by January 10 and then February 15, after I have approval from my dissertation supervisor and the second reader, and each one has submitted an evaluation form to the doctoral, I guess, dissertation committee, then I would need to submit my dissertation to that committee and to the graduation coordinator by February 15 of 2026. After their reviews and after completing all the revisions, because you know there is always something to be revised in this process. But it is part of the process. It's quite humbling too, because sometimes not that you don't know the thing, but you just completely miss it. And sometimes you really don't know. So I hope by God's grace that the corrections will not be too many, but whatever the result, I am open to just do what I need to do and get this thing done once and for all. So by March 15, once I've completed the revisions and responded to the technical reader's recommendations, then I would email the corrected dissertation to the graduation coordinator. And once the dissertation has been approved, I will schedule my oral review defense. And this should be completed no later than May 1. So by March 31, in order to participate in graduation, all coursework must be completed by this date. Of course, I've completed all of my coursework. It's only the dissertation part that needs to be finished. All financial obligations must be met by April 30 before completing the oral review. My desire, and I'm putting it out there, is that I will do my oral review before my birthday, which is May 9, and that the defense will be successful and I will be Dr. Taylor as a birthday gift to myself. But based on the schedule, they say by May 10th, I should have completed all the dissertation revisions based on recommendations from my oral committee. And then I would send the final dissertation to the graduation coordinator and my supervisor. They do the dissertation release document so that it can go on the school's website for public access. And then graduation is the first Saturday in June in Dallas, Texas. So I hope I haven't bored you with all of that. So that is the trajectory. And by the grace of God, I will get there. But success is a journey. You don't only celebrate the end when you're done and you say, I am Dr. Taylor or Dr. whoever. You celebrate the journey. At times, it didn't seem as if I would get this far. I've been on this journey for 10 years. Yes, you heard right. 10 years. I was accepted into the doctoral program in 2015. But then I experienced a heartbreak, financial challenges, discouragement, illness. It took me 4 years before I started the first course. And in the midst of starting the course, I was unemployed, and it was during that season that the Lord told me to leave my 9 to 5. And what has happened is that everybody's path is different, right? For me, it turned on a book. I published my first book in January 2015, and everything changed. All my life plans and everything thereafter was now connected to a book. And so during these 10 years, what has happened is that I was developing and working on what is now my dissertation, the subject of my dissertation. So started my publishing business and technically became an entrepreneur, although I didn't know it then in 2015. And I tried selling books to make a full-time living, and it didn't work for very long. The book sales fluctuated, and about 9 months in, I had to get a part-time job. And around about July 2018, I felt God was saying, give up the part-time job. And so through coaching and everything, I decided to go in a new direction. Instead of just living from book sales alone, I tried a new model. By this time, when I left my part-time job, I had 4 books, and I had launched my Design to Win Academy. And by October 2018, I heard, and I believe it was God's voice, start a Facebook group called Indie Authorpreneurs. And October 18, I just shut about the bed and started the Indie Authorpreneurs Facebook group. And the first activity we did in this group was to go on the 30-day writing challenge, and I wrote the book Authorpreneur Secrets, which was about writing fast, publishing on a budget, and generating lasting income. And that book has become what I would call the transformational guide for most of what I have done to earn sustainable income. The other thing that happened, we're talking about my testimony turned on a book, was that people would always come to me to publish books for them, but I didn't want to publish books for other authors. And then I heard that clear voice again saying, you're leaving money on the table. And at this time, I was struggling to pay the bills. And so I started offering publishing services. I put out a post about that, and within a couple minutes of putting a post on Facebook that I was offering publishing consultant services, someone contacted me. Eventually, she became a client, and then after the writing challenge was finished, because we did the writing challenge November to December, the two persons the 2 persons who completed the challenge, they became clients. And by virtue of referrals, I got other clients. And it's just amazing. By the end of 2019, I had become a little, frustrated with my publishing journey. And that's when, while I was in church, as my pastor preached from First Chronicles 16, verses 24 stood out, which said in the New Living Translation version of the Bible that I use, it said, publish his glorious deeds among the nations, tell everyone the amazing things he does. I was like, what? And in that moment, I recognized this was a calling. I still wrestled with it, but I continued. And my most sustainable income has been through publishing. In fact, all the other products that I've developed has been around book publishing. Teaching people to start their own publishing business, teaching people to publish books, everything. that has been my whole calling and my approach to author entrepreneurship because I'm using my books to generate income beyond book sales. Although you can be an entrepreneur that who is primarily selling books, that wasn't my model. So it turned on a book for me. Entrepreneurship is not just a way to earn sustainable income for me. It is a calling from God. And this dissertation is really a case study of my initiatives in authorpreneurship in Jamaica and how that contributes to sustainable income generation. The findings have been interesting. No, I can't share my findings. When my defense is over and I am Dr. Taylor, I will come back on the show and share my findings. But there have been a lot of surprises along the way. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow says, "The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward through the night." Literally, that has been the case. This week in particular, the week of the record, I was working through my nights. I was working almost around the clock on this thing because I I like a challenge, right? And I saw a YouTube video about a PhD student who wrote his chapters 4 and 5 in 7 days. And just like when I heard about the 20 books to 50K movement and I wrote 20 books in a year, I decided that I'm going to take on this challenge to write chapters 4 and 5 in 7 days. And I said to myself, if not 7 days, maybe 10 days, but at least I can do this in a short time. And believe you me, I finished in the 7 days. And while men slept, I was toiling through the night. But throughout this journey, it has been like that. A lot of late nights, a lot of upward toiling. And my journey has been longer than most. It's a 10-year journey with a lot of starts and stops. But what God has done as I celebrate 10 years of being an author entrepreneur is that these 10 years were for development to give me the content that I needed, to give me the substance that I needed for this dissertation, which is about authorpreneurship as a viable model for sustainable income in Jamaica through microfinancing. And so I'm rejoicing. Things have turned out in the end better than I dreamed. I told you last week that Daphne dedicated this book, It Turned on a Book, to me. And when she autographed the book, she said, "Thank you, Ecclesiastes 3:11." And let me read what that says. It says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." So God makes everything beautiful in His time. I wanted to graduate, for example, last year, and I was very disappointed that I didn't finish. And though it has been 10 years, God has made everything beautiful in His time. And she further wrote, "There is beauty in past painful situations. Thanks for being a part of this journey and helping to birth my purpose in this season." Everything turned on a book. The ability to help people to publish their own books, to find their purpose, the lives that have been changed, and everything that has happened in the last 10 years. At the heart of all of that has been books. It started with one book, and today I think I am close to 40, or book number 40 will be published by the end of this month. And now it's your turn. How will a book redirect your purpose and profession? Stay tuned for more stories of It Turned on a Book in the weeks to come. If you found this story insightful, inspiring, leave a comment on YouTube or on Spotify and let me know. All right, that's it for today. Just reminding you that of the making of books, there is no end. Go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.